I even asked him. I asked him about the pizza parties. They said they're not called pizza parties, but I know what you're talking about.
Right, the pedophile parties.
Yes.
And then and see, a couple weeks, you probably read all this before, but a couple weeks after I got out of the hospital, that ex-wife comes by my home and she says, "You don't know how many lives you ruined with your idiocy." And of course, my idiocy was staying home and minding my own business. You know, I'm shot inside my home. And but what she was saying was a lot of people were here and they're going to have their lives ruined. And
do you know about how many feet that gun pushed through? That ground it was, because he said that these houses are 25 feet under, at least 25 exactly.
The evidence shows without doubt that somebody under my home shot me with my phone lines cut on the evening of January 28, 2012, and I was then seen crawling out at 10:42 p.m. to save my life. 19 minutes later, at 11:01 p.m., Martin County Sheriff John Woodward and the late Midland Deputy Sheriff Mike Naylor are seen arriving at my home without being dispatched, and no record of them being at my home or even being at my home. According to the police report, which had been subpoenaed but illegally withheld for 6 years, Lieutenant Dickie was inside my home without being seen just 4 minutes after Woodward and Naylor were seen arriving on the security cameras. Also listed on the police report as being at my home and not seen arriving was Officers Davis, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale. A previous resident of my home, Ricky Ranaldo, told me that him and his brother used to go in the tunnels under this home when they lived here, which would explain how those police got into my home without being seen. But there's no mention on the police report for them being under my home that night. I was shot by somebody under my home. And based on the recorded testimony of multiple people, including Joe Lozano, a guy running for Midland Sheriff, along with supporting evidence found on old Google Maps, there are 4 secret 3-bedroom, $1 million underground homes here, with one of those located in my backyard. They were said to have been put in for the Bushes back in the 80s. That's the 2 President Bushes that are from Midland. One woman was recorded saying they were having pedophile parties down there. We're going to listen to that in a minute. Based on the evidence, then one theory is that MPD officers Davis, Dickie, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale were under my home at one of those pedophile parties on the night that I unknowingly trapped a burglar in my bathroom before being shot by surprise with my phone lines cut. It makes sense the police under my home would not want to write on the police report they were having sex with little children when this happened, explaining how they could be inside my home without being seen arriving, and it was one of them that shot me due to the criminal who had got trapped while during the commission of a felony, and that would be the burglary of a habitation for my home. I had been reporting repeated burglaries to the police at this time. In the name of fairness, let's publicly ask Officers Davis, Dickie, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale what really happened. If they don't answer, then I think we can assume they were in the underground homes having sex with small children when I unknowingly trapped a burglar, which led to them cutting my phone lines and shooting me in a capital murder attempt. MPD Officers Davis, Dickie, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, were you under my home this night? Yes or no? If not, then how did you get in my home without being seen? And then last bullet point is we know they didn't come in from another window or door, as they were secured with extra locks as documented on the police report. Okay, this is the video here I posted on the Facebook. This is the woman that told me about the underground home, 4 3-bedroom underground homes. Said they're having pedophile parties down there. We're going to listen to that. The evidence shows without doubt that somebody under my home shot with my phone lines cut on the evening, and that's what I read, and that's what I want to show on these evidence, basically these evidence files. This is from the security camera, and what it's showing here, just like I said, at 10:42 on 128, I'm seen crawling out with my, the reason I crawled out is because they had stolen my cell phone and disconnected my home phone lines before shooting me. I mean, that's why I crawled out, okay? The next one here, the next picture, this one here was, actually look at the timestamp first, same day, it was 19 minutes later at 11:01 p.m. The first 2 police officers are seen arriving. And as seen at the top, it says 6 years after being caught on camera, Empire Private Investigations collected the $2,000 reward and identified these 2 officers that were seen arriving at 11:01 is former Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, who's now a convicted felon, and the late Midland County Deputy Mike Naylor. The Midland police report shows they were not dispatched or even at my home. Martin County also has no record for them being at my home. How did they know to come to my home minutes after a premeditated capital murder attempt? That's a question that has never been answered. Okay. Here's this next one here. Shows that a previous resident of my home, Ricky Ranaldo here, he says, I used to live in that house. And I said, oh, yeah? And he said, yeah. He says, when I was a kid, there were tunnels under the house, and me and my brother would always go down there. But Ricky told me there was tunnels under my house. Well, that would explain how the police got into my home without being seen, okay? Google historical maps, if you go to Google Earth, okay, and you look up my address, 3802 Fair Circle, right behind it is the Midland Home Depot store. And if you go to the dated maps, specifically around 2011, 2012, you'll see here behind the Home Depot store where it looks like they cut a ditch. See the difference of the color of the asphalt? Right here, it looks like they cut a ditch coming directly to my home right here. I was shot right here, and this is where it's believed one of the 4 underground homes is located. That's where we're asking the police officers if that's how they got into my home, was via that tunnel right there. Okay, this next one here is also Google Earth, and it also has here a Google Maps, okay, which is on the internet. And Google Maps, on the map screen, it showed a large building in the backyard of my home. This is my home, but it's not seen above ground on the satellite screen. That I believe that's one of the 4 underground homes I was told about. And where the oil show parties were going on and where the pedophile parties were going on was this underground home that's in my backyard, okay? And once again, you can see the ditch. This is where it's believed that the underground home is located. This is where I was shot. And then here's all these many people documented telling me that there's underground homes here, with one of them being a recent candidate for sheriff. You know, many of these are recordings and screenshots, and it's not Buddy saying they said. I have the evidence backing it up. Okay, here's the next one. Okay, based on, I was told there were 4 underground homes, so based on certain evidence such as a weird mortar problem at my house, I believe was caused by digging under the house, along with a nearby water well, then I found 2 other homes that are pretty close that also had a weird mortar problem and has a water well, and this one has an empty lot next to it. And so I think maybe one of the 4 underground homes is located here. That's a home on Westmont Court. You can see it right there, okay? And there's my home. Here's the water well. Here's the weird mortar problem. And then over here on Fairgreen Court, next to this Fairmont Park Church of Christ, is another home, has a weird mortar problem, and it has a nearby water well. And you can tell if you look at the old maps where they messed with the fence back there. I think it's on this side of the house where the underground home is. That still leaves one underground home somewhere. So we don't really know yet whether the oil show parties, the pedophile parties, went all the underground homes or just the one in my backyard. That's an unanswered question. Were the police in them or not? And that's what we're asking the police, right? And then finally, the last here picture here was Tisha Brumley, Ann Wilkinson Brumley. She tells me, as I've had friends and been involved in those oil show parties, they're exactly what you say. They are underground homes. That's the confirmation that we're having parties in underground homes, okay? What came from this lady right here, okay? And so that's the question right here. We have plenty of evidence right here, and it's as I read to you a minute ago. We're asking them publicly because they need a chance to defend themselves. So I want to publicly ask Officers Davis, Lieutenant Davis, or Lieutenant Dickie, Sergeant Davis, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, were you under my home this night or not? Okay, I mean, that's a simple yes or no question. If not, how the hell did you get into my home without being seen on camera? And I believe the answer is they were in my underground home. Then of course the next question is, were you in the underground homes having sex with little children? That's another yes or no question, and I think the public deserves that. If our police in the underground homes having sex with little children, I think the whole public should wants to know if that's what's going on with the Midland Police Department. Y'all share this. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.